Hi guys, and welcome back to another Disney craft tutorial. Today we are going to be making these really cute Mickey Mouse window banners. Here's an example right here, but then you can also see I've made one behind me. To get started, we are going to need a couple different supplies. So the first thing we're going to need is some different color paper. If you don't have different color paper at your house, that's okay. White paper will work just as well. And then you're going to need some cardboard. So this is just from a cereal box, so you could use any cardboard you have at your house. This is basically going to be used to help make our tracer, so it helps to make the background a little bit thicker. So like I said, this is just from a cereal box, but you could use cardboard from a box from Amazon or anything like that. And then you're also going to need some scissors, you're going to need some string, a hole puncher if you have one. If you don't have a hole puncher, that's okay. I'll have a tip later on in the video on how you can still make a hole without a hole puncher. Crayons or markers are optional. These are in case you only have white paper at your house and you want to make your Mickey Mouse heads different color. And then what you're going to need very last is our Mickey Mouse head template, which you can find on our Disney Classroom. This is something that can just be printed out. If you don't have a printer at home, what you could do is you could pull up the picture of this on your computer screen, and you could take a white piece of paper and actually trace around it and then cut that out. Or you could freehand Mickey Mouse. Luckily, Mickey Mouse's head is pretty easy to draw. So to get started, what you're going to need is grab your cardboard piece and your Mickey Mouse head, which I have actually already cut out. But if you haven't cut it out already, go ahead and take your scissors and cut out the head so that it looks like this. And then what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually just going to be setting it down on my cardboard. And I'm going to be taking my crayon here, or marker or pen, whatever you have available. And I'm going to just be tracing around my Mickey Mouse head on my cardboard. The reason I'm tracing onto cardboard is because when I go to trace on my other pieces of paper, sometimes it's nicer to have whatever you're tracing with be a little bit thicker than the material that you are tracing onto. This kind of helps tracing process be a little bit cleaner. So now that I've got my Mickey Mouse head drawn on my piece of cardboard, I'm going to go ahead and take my scissors and just cut out that Mickey Mouse head. Whatever your tracer looks like is what the rest of your Mickey Mouse heads are going to look like. So take your time on this piece. Okay. So here is what my stencil is going to look like. So I'm going to be using this piece to trace around all of my colored paper. Okay, so the very next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab my paper here. So I have different color paper available to use, but if you only have white paper at your house, that's totally okay. White paper will work just as well. And then you can use your markers or pencils or crayons, whatever you have, to color in those Mickey Mouse heads. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be making about 8 to 9 Mickey Mouse heads. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start with just one sheet of paper, and I'm going to take my stencil that I made out of cardboard, and I'm going to be laying it down on my piece of paper. I'm going to just use a crayon, and I'm going to be tracing around my Mickey Mouse head onto my colored paper or my white paper, whatever I'm using. I would recommend for tracing, I've noticed that I can get about 2 Mickey Mouse heads per piece of paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to place my Mickey Mouse head kind of in the corner on the side of my piece of paper, and I'm going to just start tracing around. If you guys hear frogs in the background, I'm recording my video outside, and I live right next to a pond, so sometimes they make noise. Okay, so I traced around my 2 Mickey Mouse heads, so as you can see, I was able to get 2 Mickey Mouse heads per piece of paper. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my scissors, I'm going to cut around my Mickey Mouse heads. This could be a fun project to do with a family member if you guys, or a sibling. You guys do this together. You guys could trace Mickey Mouse heads and then cut them out together while you watch like a Disney movie or listen to Disney music. Here's my first one. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to make a pile to the side here. And as I cut them out, I'm just going to put them in my pile. Okay, here is my second Mickey Mouse head. I'm just going to put that in my pile here. My extra scraps I'm just going to kind of crumple up and put to the side with my leftover cardboard, and I will recycle that later. So next I'm going to grab another sheet of paper. As you can see by the banner behind me here, I kind of have an array of colors, and so I'm going to actually choose a different color paper this time. So I did pink the first time, and I'm going to do orange the second time. And I'm basically just going to be repeating this process over and over again until I get the amount of Mickey Mouse heads that I want. I'm doing about, this one has 9, I believe, 9 heads on it. But you can make banners as big as you want or as small as you want. But for the video, I'm going to do, I think I'm just going to do 8 for the video. So I'm going to do the exact same process. I'm just going to hold down my Mickey Mouse head and I'm going to trace around with my crayon. And I'm going to try and fit 2 on this sheet of paper as well. Okay, so now that I got these, I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually just going to do all my tracing right now, and then I'll go through and do all the cutting. So I did an orange piece. I'm going to go ahead and grab something a little bit different. I'm going to do I think a yellow. And then I'm going to end with a green. Okay, so I'm just going to do my tracing on my green one now. And tracing can be kind of hard sometimes, you guys, so if you need assistance and you have somebody who's available at your house, it may be helpful to have somebody else hold your stencil for you while you go around and you trace. Okay, so I got my green one here, and then I'm going to finish with my yellow one. Okay, so I've got all of my tracing done. I'm just going to start cutting these one by one. And remember, take your time on this. If you don't want to make 8 of them, if that's too much cutting, please reduce it down and make less than that. Whatever you guys want, you can make this project yours, and depending on where you're putting the banner, it may not need to be as big. Or if you're putting it somewhere that you want it to be longer, maybe you're putting it in a window that is really, really big, you could make it twice the size. It's totally up to you. Or you could always make more than one as well. I'm going to go ahead and move on to my green. Okay guys, I'm on my very last one. Feel free to take a break in between cutting these out too. It is a lot of cutting. Alright you guys, I have one more left to do. Okay, here's my very last one. So I'm going to go ahead and put this over here in my recycle bin. So now I have 8 Mickey Mouse heads here ready to make my banner. The next I'm going to take my hole puncher and I'm going to actually be making 2 holes on either side of each Mickey Mouse head. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to kind of pop one little hole on one side of his ear, and then I'm going to flip it over and do the exact same thing on the other side, directly across. So if you don't have a hole puncher at home, that is okay. There's a lot of things you could use to create the little holes. With the assistance of somebody, you could use scissors to just kind of poke a hole through, or just even cut a little hole, or you could even use the tip of a ballpoint pen to poke a hole through. Those will work just as fine. All we have to do is we have to just make sure that the hole is big enough to get the string that you have available at home through that hole. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to just poke holes onto both sides of each Mickey Mouse head. Now that I have the holes punched on both sides of each Mickey Mouse ear, I am all done with my hole puncher, so I'm going to go ahead and just set that to the side. Next, I'm going to need my string, and so for this, you can kind of determine how long you want your string to be. For me, I want to be able to put my banner in my window, so I kind of just measured my window to see how big I wanted it to be. So once I determine how long I want my string to be, I'm going to go ahead and just cut my string, and then I am all done with my scissors, so I'm just going to set those aside. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of my Mickey Mouse heads. So right now they're kind of just in a pile, like both the oranges are together, both the greens, both the yellows, and both the pinks. As you can see in my banner behind me here, I kind of mixed up the colors so 2 same colors aren't right next to each other. So basically I'm just going to kind of mix up my colors so that they're not right next to each other. This is optional. You can do this if you want, but you don't have to. Okay, so now that I have them in the order that I want, I'm going to start stringing them onto my string. So basically I'm just going to take one end here. I'm going to actually just take my very first Mickey Mouse head and I'm going to stick my string through the hole. So I'm going to go through the front here, and now it's string through the back, and then I'm going to come through the back side and string it through the front. So it kind of hangs like this. And then I'm just going to pull the Mickey Mouse head all the way through to the very end with leaving a little bit of string there so that I can hang it. And then I'm just going to move on to the very next one. So I'm going to grab my next head. I'm going to poke the string through the front. And then I'm going to pop it through the back. And then I'm going to pull it all the way through. So I'm using yarn for my string, and I'm kind of noticing that my string is kind of starting to fray a little bit, where that means the string is kind of coming apart, which makes it kind of hard to stick it through my hole punched hole. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab, this is kind of a little trick, I'm going to grab a piece of tape, and I'm going to actually just wrap it around the tip of my string. This will kind of help so that that fraying doesn't happen anymore. If you're using some kind of plastic string, This probably won't be an issue, but for me, I'm noticing that, so I figured I would share it with you guys in case anybody else is having that same struggle. So now it's kind of like a thick end, which makes it a little bit easier to pop through my hole, I've noticed. I'm going to pop my string through the back and then come through the other side and then just pull it tight. Same thing, pop my string through the hole on one side, bring it around the back and pop through the front and pull it tight. And I'm just going to keep going until I get through each one of these Mickey Mouse heads. Okay, so now I've got all my Mickey Mouse heads attached to my string, and now it is ready to hang in a window or on your wall, wherever you'd like to hang it. If you want to go through and add some decoration or designs or even words onto your Mickey Mouse heads, this would be a perfect time to do it. So kind of the inspiration and story behind this craft is I've seen a lot of inspiration on Instagram and social media and in my neighborhood of people who have been decorating their windows. So I know in my neighborhood at least we've had a lot of people going on a lot of walks and kind of getting outside a lot more lately. There's kind of been a trend going around of people decorating their windows so that people who are on their walks get a little bit of joy by seeing their windows all decorated. I've seen people put stuffed animals in their windows, inspirational quotes, cute designs and decorations. I thought it would be fun for us to do Disney themed decoration to put in your window. So if you do decide to do this craft and you put it up somewhere, you should post a picture in our Google Classroom or on social media and tag us and let us know that you've done the craft. Thanks for joining us, guys. Bye.